Questions or
Sure.
whatever.
Stand by. Yeah, they were pretty comfortable with the project. Yeah, so this is Ken, Denise, and Sue. This is June 7th, 2024. And I'm gonna try to monkey around with Izuku and set up a course for Denise real quick. I'm gonna need to. Had I already enrolled you like in a course?
I think that I had looked through it enough, and I think I might have looked at been in one of your courses. I'm not absolutely positive I was enrolled, but I do remember looking around it. And I had used Rizuku a bit.
Yeah,
couple
so
years ago.
let me think. Want to find one here and get you. Yeah, and so what I'm going to do on this one is just I'm working as an admin now, and I'm in the just creativity course. I'm going to just add this to you here. So
Oh,
that I
there's her
can,
name right there. Recent signups. It had her name there.
uh,
There was a,
Well, I'm already in, right?
yeah,
Let's
I
go back.
saw her name
oh,
there.
okay, yeah. All right, okay, I see it.
Yeah, let's
Well,
not
you
make
were
it.
the invitation. Well, I just sent another invitation. I just needed that so that I could go to. Let's see, I've got to go to the admin.
Yeah, I saw her name there as a student in the creativity course.
Yeah, okay, then may already be in there. Manage site. And I'm gonna search by your name, and there you are. And what I got to do is make you, let's see, change you from a student to a guide. That allows you to be the guide of an instance of a course. So that a course that you could be a guide of could either be, I could either make a copy of a course and then assign it to you, or I could just, you could log in as a guide and then create your course from scratch. Now, because I have the admin power here. I'm going to mimic your account. And so, yeah, it looks like you're enrolled in the Creativity 101 course already. So I'm just going to create a new course for you. And I guess maybe I haven't used this one before, but I'm going to use the template course mini course. Does that look like a reasonable? Let's put a name on your course. Denise's. Let's see. What do you want to call your course?
You want to run it as a workshop, Denise?
Yeah. Do you have a name for it? Just we can edit this later.
Yeah, Denise's webinar, because I want to do just the webinar, which is just the flashcard, what I went through with the flashcards, which is not a workshop.
Okay.
And it's going to be the shorter one.
Okay. So let's just now each of those modules is like a chapter, and then underneath each module, we can hang individual lessons, but the module allows you to group chunks together in an easy fashion.
And they don't have to be days. It's like still, it can be section 1 or lesson 1.
Yeah, each of those names can also be adjusted, but I'm just going to leave that there for now, and we're going to go edit the individual modules. And I'm going to leave a people page on there so that the students are able to see who else is in there and they can talk with each other. I'm going to leave a discussions page on there so that students could talk to each other if they want. And I'm going to leave the chat feature on so that students could actually engage in live chat with each other if they wanted to. So those are nice options to have at the start. You don't have to have those in there, and you can delete those later on as needed. So all I'm going to do is hit the create course. And they have a nice little checklist for how to complete so that the thing is ready for prime time. The getting started with Rizuku is an optional feature. You can, like the first time you do this, you could go through that and see how it gives advice to the first time course designer. It's kind of handy how the key language and how the whole thing works. Controlling the pace of the course that we're going to go to. So we've already created modules and it added an introductory lesson already. So those are already done. And this walks you through all the things that you might need to do to fully flesh out the course. So I'm going to go to control the pace of the course. I'm going to suggest that it's probably full access because,
Yes.
because it is a, they
It's
get to
not
see
direct.
the whole course at one chunk. It doesn't need to drip. So that'll be what that is. Save and continue. I'm gonna skip this one because this just gives the overview. Creating a meeting. So there's two ways that you could approach this course. One of them is to have some recorded sessions that you drop into the lessons, and then they just watch that at their own pace. Or you could actually create a meeting in which you're going to do a live, like a Zoom presentation, but inside Rizuku. So if you don't have a Zoom account, or if you wanted to keep it inside Rizuku, you could. I'm going to say skip a step because, in my view, Zoom is an easier way to do that. It allows you to drop in. It's easy to record. You can do AI note takers. You can share screens very easily and just engage in collaboration a lot more conveniently. And you can, you can share various screens. You can do editing on screen. And I just default to using Zoom
Yes.
instead of that. So I'm just going to not create a meeting. I'm going to skip that step. The style of the course would be, once you get into deciding how to brand it and putting a color scheme
Sure.
and all that jazz, their default color schemes are fine. That's all I ever use. All I ever do in the style stage is I drop in a little thumbnail icon to identify the course, and I don't mess with anything else. So I keep it really bare bones. And again, you can always come back to this later and do
Right.
this. So I'm going to skip. Setting up the account to process student payments. If you have a Stripe account, you can go in there, hit that, and then it lets you set up. I'm going to just show you real quickly how to. If you want to charge for this thing, have other than free, you click that, and then you log in here with your Stripe login, and it walks you through the account connection so that they can pay for the course inside Rizuku and have it deposit in your Stripe account. I recommend using Stripe over PayPal because it is far less expensive, and you can do the full range of financial transactions from your Stripe account. If you like, you can pay people with your Stripe account, or you can receive payment from folks through Stripe, and it has the full range of credit cards and all that jazz that you can for processing. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. Now creating a price point. Now this is okay. I'm going to create a free price point. Now, if I had configured Stripe, then when I could click on that, and then I could also put in, excuse me, the 4 pay versions. I'm going to and it's really the same function, the same process as doing a free, but so I'm gonna, this one's gonna be free. And so my special name that might be introduction or introductory price. And I'm gonna say there's, if I wanted to limit how long they could access that, I could say you can look at this for 30 days or up to unlimited. I normally just give them lifetime access sort of as part of my brand. But there are reasons why you might want to do that. If I wanted to limit the number of people that could sign up for it, I could put in 1,000. So maybe I want to put 1,000. So I'm just going to leave it unlimited. I could
Yep.
start with allowing signups as of today and never expire. And now by hitting create price point, I now have a price point. And it shows, now I can create multiple price points. So when I was doing like A/B testing, I would run different versions of the course. And you can either have separate price points with separate checkout pages, or you can actually go up here into coupons and click a coupon if I had a payment provider, and then I could specify a coupon and then which price point it points at. So what I'm doing,
Let me ask you while we're here
Sure.
with that. So I'm going to have 3 price points because I got some add-ons.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
recommended to have the one checkout page that shows the 3 different price points, or should, once they click the button, it goes to its own checkout page?
Yeah, well, there's a couple ways you could do that, depending, like if you wanted them to we're going to see one in here. There's a way that you can do a bundle, which is probably appropriate for you, Sue, because you could have course 1, 2, and 3 that had separate content. And you might say, I want this for $597, and this for $1997, and this for $197. So I got 3 different courses. And you could set this up so that you could create a bundle that had those 3 courses in it, and then they could hit one or the other, one or all 3, and decide which ones they wanted to sign up for. You can also, over in here, have price point 1, 2, 3, and 4, which they don't see. And then each one of those will have its own checkout page. And so when I click copy the checkout link, it'll take them to the same checkout page, but it'll have the appropriate price. And then they just hit enter, and then that'll bill them. Then on the coupon page, I could have 5 different coupons that are named. Like I have one for LSA, the Leavenworth Soccer Association. I have one, it's usually like a guest and something like that. Or I have a long-term client benefit program where years ago when I was first starting out, guys could buy a discount coin for $5,000, and that would give them 50% discount on all my workshops forever into the future. That
Wow.
turned out to be a nice way to raise a lot of money early.
Yeah.
To pay for infrastructure and things. And long term, it actually benefited them, because mostly my price points are at about 3,000 for my full up courses. So if a guy paid, if a guy bought 4 of them, it would cost
He
him
saved money.
12,000.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if he spent 5,000 on the coin, then he could get that for 6,000. And so 4 courses
That's
gives him a net
somewhere between 3 and
benefit of
4 is the
1,000.
breaking point on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I tried with different ones where I had like I think a 30 and a 10% as well. And that almost became, and for a while I had these, I had little metal coins, like challenge coins, actually made and shipped to them. It had like a little, almost like a little business card, but a 2-inch coin, which, and it was kind of fun. But I after a while I stopped doing that because I didn't have a nice payment program like I do now, and I had to do manual billing, and it was getting to be too much paperwork. But I'm actually hinting to my clients now that I'd be willing to reopen that program, and I've actually done it for a couple guys. So anyway,
So let me just ask you, so Denise, let's just say she's
Yeah.
got over here in the far left, that 1, 2, 3, 4, if there's 4 price points.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you then send them, if they click one, it goes to its own
Yeah.
checkout page?
So what I would do is,
3 and 4.
the way I would do that, when you put out your little offer and you say, hey, I'm offering this course on this date at a certain price, here's the link that you send them in an email or on a web page, and it looks like this checkout page. So each price point, each one of these price point, like if this was 197 and this one was 497, all of the language on the checkout page is identical except for the actual numerical
What if
price.
you've got an early bird and it disappears on a certain date? Is that 2 different links?
Let's see.
Or you just set it up on the page that it'll disappear?
What I would do on that one is I would give them a coupon.
Okay.
I would give them a coupon for
Yeah, that'd be
30%
the
off.
easiest. Yep, okay,
And then that has it has an expiration date.
right.
And that
And the
way,
system will know it, so
yeah,
they try
yeah.
to
And
go in
so what
here.
that would have over here is like a little coupon,
Mhm.
and it would automatically be filled in, and then they'd get the discounted price.
And all
And-
these checkout pages are just Rizuku form pages that you create.
Yeah, I'm going to show you that here in a minute. I wanted to just show
Yeah.
show you where we were. Let's see. So clear all
Okay,
drawings.
so you probably wiped
So
that
if I
out.
go
Yeah.
to the
That's enough.
checkout page, so sign up is cool. I'm sorry, I thought I had that opened up.
You did
So
set it for
yeah, I
open.
thought I did, but so yeah, okay. So on this one, you actually have to manually click that thing. So that should be good. Now, if I go to the checkout page, let's see.
They just give you a
There
generic
you go.
page.
Yeah. So no payment required, and I can continue with the sign up. And then that would enroll me in the course. Then when I hit finishing checkout, I can't, yeah, you can't buy your own course essentially. But if I go to the sales page and create sales page, then this gives you a little template that allows you to just kind of chunk in the standard, and then you can just edit all of those things. You can type your sales pitch. Now, this is where if you had multiple pricings for multiple offers and things like that, it could actually show you a range of prices to choose from. If you were going to offer a menu, like I want the course and I want the course with coaching, and I want the course with coaching with transcripts. You could set 3 different pricing levels and do it that way as well. And then what you'll learn is they just have this set for like how to build a course, but what you'll learn, that's where you would type in your learning outcomes. In this one, you would put some testimonials. This is the pricing page that allows you to click from the sales page. You can say, oh, there's my prices. And in this, because it's only free, it shows you the 0. And then those are the features. You can type this little clicky here, allows them to enroll. More marketing stuff. And you can use or delete all of those things as you wish.
Your little kitty cat.
There she is. Yeah, in fact, you probably wrote that as your student overview back in March when you first enrolled in the Creativity
Oh, yeah,
101.
that
So,
is you.
so it remembers your profile stuff there, and which is nice because
AKA
it,
guinea pig. Well, they didn't
Yeah.
put a guinea pig there for your picture. They put a, or maybe you picked that cat. I don't know.
I think she did. I think Denise picked that little kitty. So,
I don't think I picked the cat, but I don't think I know I didn't put a picture in.
oh, maybe they picked
Yeah.
the cat then.
They picked the cat then.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if I wanted, so this is how you edit the sales page. If I went to the student view, this should show me, I think. Yeah, this is what a person who went to the sales page would see as they went through this. Like, that's what you would send in your marketing material. You would say, hey, I'm doing this course. It has these features. Click this link to see more information. And it would take you to here, and it would show you the sales pitch, the pricing. If I viewed pricing, it would take me right to here. And then I could do all the things that I need to do right from that simple, the enrollment page. So that's sort of how the administration of the onboarding goes. Now, if I go back to, yeah, I'm gonna go to manage course modules and lessons. So this is where this is their template. Each one of these modules then has a title, and it just groups, and they just put some sample placeholder lessons in. So how to use this template. This one simply is a sample of a lesson, and it's just a web page where you type your stuff, and you could say maybe, I don't need to use a template. All I need to do is the welcome and introduction. Oops. If
Well, what I don't get rid of anything that, because I'll get lost with what you did versus what they did, or
well,
I think.
all right,
Yeah,
so let me say a sample welcome lesson. So I can work down the index on the left-hand side, and
Yeah.
I can go
yeah,
from
they're
lesson
all
to
over
lesson.
there.
So this is just the text
Yeah, this is
book
just a web
for the
base.
course.
Yeah, and then
It's
if I
text for
wanted
the
to,
course you wanted to read.
Yeah.
With titles.
and
Yeah,
if I had a
get that.
flashcard, I could just add. I could add media, add an image, choose a file, and drop it in wherever I have saved all of my flashcards. I could highlight that, drop it in here, and then the image would appear, and then I could put text underneath it. I could actually record a verbal introduction. I can, in the downloads down here, I can attach reference files. So I could go to my document repository and put an article or a video. Like if I wanted to put the trading plan in there, I could do that. And I'm uploading a video file that they could download. I didn't mean to put such a big one in there. Sorry.
So there's going to be a big trading file in there now.
Except I'm going to delete it, but
Okay.
maybe I'll leave it in there. No, I'll delete it. So it's not cluttering.
Thanks.
Yeah. I forgot how big that file was.
And by the way, I'm working on a laptop and the text is incredibly small, so it's hard for me to, read
Well, it
exactly.
is for me too. I've got my screen, I got a huge screen I'm looking at and it's
Yeah,
Okay.
but I
I'm
presume.
working on my big screen. So maybe that when it
Well, I've got
translates,
a big screen too. It's just like you said, these
I
things
see that,
small.
I see that much more clearly, Ken.
yeah,
Whatever you just did.
yeah, I just increased
Okay,
the size
yeah,
of the,
yeah.
yeah.
But
So
to the extent that I can actually see the
well, that's why I'm
regular
recording it.
Risoko stuff,
That's why I'm
then
recording it.
no, but not, what I'm saying is not changing things and adding other things from what's in the Rizuku, because it looks like this particular thing, they're telling you how Rizuku works and what to do.
Yeah,
And so I don't want to lose that.
right. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So what I did was and I do this all the time, like, for every one lesson that I put into the module, I just try to do one thing. It's like one slide, or one video, or one practical exercise with the appropriate name. Now, when I wanted to let them access the video and to download it, I put it into the downloads. If I wanted to make that visible on the screen, I could add video or audio file, and then take that same video and drop it in here. And then it would let them play that video directly from that screen, which can be handy. So normally when I create an artifact, when I do my Zoom nightly podcast with my clients, I record that session, then I upload it to, let me draw my picture here. So when I record my session where I'm working with them in Zoom, I save that to my local machine. It saves it as a MP4, and it saves it in high density format. If you record Zoom to the cloud, you have like 10 gigabytes of storage, but it only saves it at like 720p, whereas this one goes at full 1080 or even larger. If you recorded it on a big screen, it can record even larger. So recording on a local machine, in my view, is always better. And that gives me the something file MP4. And then what I do is I send that to my YouTube, and then I set that either to private or public. I set it to private or hidden if it's just for my clients. And when I send them the link, they can see it on YouTube. But if they're just a person in the world, they can't search and find it, and they can't see it. But if I set it to public, then I'm really using that for marketing
PR.
and brand, as well as my clients, because it doesn't matter to them if the rest of the world can see it. If it was proprietary stuff, then I would make it only private on YouTube. That same recording I can then put here into Rizuku in two places. One of them is in the lesson, so that they can see it on the screen, and that's where, when I add media, then they could actually, in this big space here, they would have a video player and they could watch the movie right from there. But I can also put it in the download here, and then they could download it at their leisure and play it on their local machine, without having bandwidth issues. So they could download it once and then keep it. And I like giving them that one so that they know that they have lifetime access to the material. even if I go out of business. Because they can download that material and it's theirs. So that's sort of the let's see, clear the trucks. So that's what a lesson looks like. We're right here now. The sample introduction lesson is this one. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was here. Sorry. This is so each one of these is their own page. And this really is that would be the admin portion of your course. And so you can populate that. Now, as I go down here, this is where if you had, you would use the idea of modules and lessons depending on how many chunks you had, how many artifacts. I like doing one artifact per lesson. So this might be the personalized overview note from you. You just describe something. And then lesson number 1, lesson number 2. They like small chunks, as if you were showing slides in a live presentation, but controlled at their pace.
Yeah.
So they tend to break their templates tend to use a lot of lessons, and then lots of modules. I don't usually organize it that way, but your mileage may vary. And then the take action lesson where you want them to do something, and then a reflection lesson to have them think about what it was that they did. Now, the guys that built Rizuku, Abe Crystal, is he's got his PhD in educational theory for adults. And so he has structured all the templates and everything in Rizuku to reflect best practices in education and training, which is his specialty. And in fact, he built Rizuku, the early versions of it, simply to facilitate his own online teaching program. And then he realized, oh, I've actually got a business opportunity here. And he got into the infrastructure business. But he has maintained the good educational theory. So if you had 3 chunks, you might do a day 1, day 2, day 3, and then some kind of conclusion and next steps. And that would give you the complete course. If you were a student, you would see a slightly different version of the same information. So in this case, we're looking at it the way a student would see it. And then as they do their courseware, they would see, hey, what was the last lesson? What's the next lesson? I think it would keep track of where they were over here as they completed a lesson and checked it off. They could keep track of their own stuff. And then they would also be able to see if they wanted just the modules, if they wanted to see discussions. This is where you can have threaded discussions, start a new discussion, lesson discussions. The people would allow them to see who all the other students were that were in the course. Each student could go in and check their own preferences about, do they want to receive announcements, reminders? If there was a live discussion, do they want to see an alert when anybody commented on one of their postings? They could get course digests to keep track of the thing. Most of that is, I think, suitable, like if you're doing an 8-week or a 10-week course or something like that.
Right.
If you were doing kind of a single,
Right.
webinar, you're probably not all that might not need all that. But then when you're done, and then the student would also see all
Now,
of the courses that they had from you. Go ahead.
I had a question. Was that something so you're the admin. What am I to this course?
You are the guide, and
Guide.
Yeah, and what I'm doing, what you're seeing on my screen is me mimicking your account.
You being the guy, no,
So let me say that again.
Yeah.
What I'm doing as the admin is I am mimicking your account right now. So I'm acting as if I were you.
you're
All the things,
changing my account.
yeah, all the things that you're seeing me do, you could do as the guide. Like you could make those edits and do
You
all
are
that stuff.
you are being the guide right now. You
Yes.
happen to also have the higher level admin,
Yeah, correct.
but you are functioning as the guide.
Yep.
And so the question, these course preferences, is that something, that looks like something that the students
Correct.
do,
Correct.
not that I do, right?
Right. Because what I did in this is I am mimicking your account, and then I clicked on the student view. So you can actually see when you're the guide, you click on the student view to see how they see the changes you just made.
Right.
So
Yeah, that I
so
get.
so what you would see in this student view is
But
this
there's
is this
nothing,
on the left side. That's their course navigation buttons. And each individual student could go into the preferences here and set up their own individualized preferences.
and they can set them up differently for different courses they're taking if they want to, but there's
Correct.
nothing that I do
Right.
with these preferences
Right.
in creating the course. It's something that's generically there if you have preferences.
Correct.
Well, unless, and I think this is correct, unless you've turned off things like
Right.
comments.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
you always want announcements and email reminders, that kind of thing, because you want people to show up on time.
Yeah.
But if you don't allow commenting within it because you're just going to be there for 2 hours and it's a done thing, then yeah, you could turn some stuff off over in your guide admin area.
Yeah. When we first set up the
That's
course,
what I'm asking about.
yeah, when we first set up the course, we turned on choices for discussions, people, and chat that would allow those to be built. And then it added those as modules. If I had said, no, I'm not going to allow discussions, I'm not going to allow chat, and I'm not going to allow them to see who the other people in the course are, I just could have not I could have not added those. And then all they would see is the home and the modules and their own preferences, but they wouldn't see discussions and people.
So you get to set it up however you want for this first
Correct.
webinar that you're calling it.
Yeah, correct.
Well, but Ken is setting it up right now, so I'll have to go back and go through everything and change it if I want something different, correct?
Right.
Well,
Right.
you'd have to do that anyway. I mean,
Well,
you'd have to
I
either
know,
turn
I
things
know,
on or off.
I
Yeah.
know I would have had to do it starting from scratch like Ken did from it. He chose to do a particular template, and then he's done certain things as he walks
Well,
through
right
and
there, it's right there.
demonstrates
All
it.
you do is uncheck it, and he
Yeah.
could uncheck it
Yeah.
right
So
now.
all I did right now was I'm in managing the course content, and I just come over to settings, and I'm going to click on if I wanted to change from full access to Dripper, I could. If I wanted to,
No, I know that I can go and do everything. I'm
Yeah.
just saying you've already gone through and done certain things.
Right.
That if I will have to,
Well, he can undo them right now if that's what you want him to do.
well, you can think about it later. I mean, and I'll help you with those too if you need it. But if you wanted to say, hey, I don't want them to see who the other people were.
I understand I can change them all. I'm just trying to figure out whether, I mean, first of all, I hate working from templates, but that's another matter. But
Makes it easy.
In some ways.
Well,
But-
if you got to
but-
follow their system, sometimes the templates are better because you have to do their system.
Yeah.
So it's easier if they just throw on the template and you pick, you choose
Yeah.
how to set it up because you're stuck with
But
their
I
continue.
think the way I would recommend for the first one you want to do is just say, let me get a vision for how exactly I want that course to be. Do I want that? And then you just kind of get that in your mind. And then it's relatively quick to just go through and make the changes on there that you want to. And I'm happy to help with that too. But it really is, you should make it based on what kind of experience you want them specifically to have. That's geared to the way you teach and what you want to teach and the purpose and all that.
And if you're doing a webinar versus an
Sure.
8-week course,
Right.
and because if it's an 8-week course, you have to decide what you're going to go through and take out and do all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, and so something I do also is like on the facilitators, like these guys right here, all of these guys are students of mine who I have made guides,
Right.
and there are some versions of the course, like I have some courses that are 36 weeks long,
Mhm.
and I want them to be able to lead discussions and do whatever.
Right.
So I would go through here and say, which of my
Ones do I want?
crew of criminal associates do I want having to help me?
Yeah.
Like I might want Bill. I
I might have a
because-
grad assistant that was
Yep.
assigned to me, and I might want to make them one of those.
Yeah, and he said, hey, I want you to go to lesson 3 and build out some material. So I make them a guide, and then allows them to work their way through the material as a guide instead of a student.
And if you do that, it means you're at risk for, I mean, because they can, as a guide, change anything you could change.
Yeah. Yeah, so you
As a
want to,
guide,
yeah,
so
so you
you
want to do
have
that
to be
carefully. Yeah.
really careful with that.
So the way to do that, by the way, the way you do that is when you go over to your course management, you end up, let's imagine that you set up the course exactly the way you want to do it. And you say, awesome. Now what I would do is I would copy that course into another version of it and then use that for a specific instance and then make some adjustments and maybe add material, try things out, do this and that. And that way I always have a pure copy, a clean copy of the original. And then each subsequent iteration of that course comes with its own price points and all that stuff. And when you make a copy of the course, you can,
But can I make a
It
copy of the
copies-
course?
yeah, as a guide, you can make a copy of the course. And then in the bundles, so these are the individual courses you have right now, and you could make as many of those as you want. And then in the bundles, I can create a bundle that allows me to name it and then pick which of my courses I want that bundle to
Put in
contain.
the bundle, right.
So it gives you a really nice way to create new content from existing materials. And
So can I create a new course? If I understand correctly, the way you have it set up.
Yeah.
I could create a course.
Yeah.
No, you're logged in as you, you're not.
I'm
logged
I'm logged in as you, and in the upper right hand corner, you see I'm mimicking Denise. So this is what
Got
you
it.
would see
So this is the
under your courses. And you are enrolled in 2 courses. You're teaching one, the flashcard course,
an attending
and
one,
you're
right.
attending one, which is the Creativity 101.
Okay,
And so if you wanted to add a course, you would just create a new course, and now
so if I
boom,
want,
we're
so
right
if I
back
want
to
to
the
start,
start point again. Yeah.
so if I want to start from scratch, I
Right.
can just create a new course, name it what I want.
Yep.
that
And if you
doesn't-
do blank course, it doesn't have any of those introductions
Got
and
nothing in
modules and all that other stuff. And that's probably easier for the webinar than
It was
going,
easy.
than going through the other materials.
As I said, I worked with Rizuku for a month or 6 weeks in 2022 because I thought I got excited into buying the lifetime with, you know, if you don't like it, you've got a certain amount of time to
Yeah.
back out of this. And I realized when I did it that I was way too early in the process
Yeah.
to make a commitment to Rizuku, because there's some things that I liked a lot about it, and there are other things that I
Sure.
don't think it contains that I'm concerned about. How am I gonna do that? So I did tell them that I wanted out of it, and they said great. And so I spent a lot of time putting a lot of things into it, which I then took out of it. So I've had some running around, but I've never done this multi-level thing. I knew you could. I didn't remember it said mimicking, but I knew that there was, like, they usually call it student view.
Yeah.
In an LMS.
Yeah, and what the mimicking does, I think, is only that's an extra layer of student view for the admin. So I can actually create courses for the guide. And then
So
I can do some other administrative level stuff too.
So I might not see mimicking anybody. I might see different terminology, meaning when I'm looking at the student view thing.
Yeah.
Because I only guide level. Got it. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's
Okay.
usually up in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah,
Like if I
got it.
go back to
That
this
makes sense.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you did yeah, this up on the very up on the very top, lessons, manage course, and student view. When you hit student view, that now
Yeah.
takes you back to this one,
For the student view.
and it's
I'll be
it's
right
right-
back, guys. Keep going.
Yeah, and it's just it gives you the navigation bar that the students have access to. This is how they would see the
Right.
modules and lessons layout,
Yeah.
and it would give them the little snapshot of you as the guide with all the
Right.
things that were in your profile, and then a
Right.
connection to send you an email if they want to. And right now, the student that we're viewing, which is you've completed 0 of 28 lessons, but that
Yeah.
keeps their own their little scoring. So if I can just for a moment, well, when I go to this is how slow I am. I don't even have an image on my creativity course. That's how lazy and tired I am. So, like these are all the lessons and chunks I have on the creativity course. And so,
All the chunks that the creativity course contains.
yep.
Got it.
And calendar discussions, people
Right.
and all that jazz. Yep.
Yep.
And it's,
Now, okay, so according to this, I've got 100% completed something right there.
let's see. Um, from the creativity course.
Yeah.
It had,
So
oh yeah,
we-
from like the welcome.
we can see what I did to create not what I did, but what level of things I complete. And I
Yeah.
can't move the screen, but so we can see, you can see what I did.
Yeah,
in
this
terms
is
of
you.
what-
This is you in the creativity course.
Yes.
You completed the welcome and the gifts, and you also got the captains, the life lessons, the orientation, and you got as far as like the fundamentals of creativity, which had those lessons, and you completed all those lessons, and stopped right there.
Yep.
To get the idea of it. Okay.
Yep.
So that is sort of in a nutshell, how to start up a course and all that jazz. Like I'm going to stop mimicking here and just say, I wanted to just show you an example.
Yeah.
Once you get if you're going to do, payments and all that, I'm going to go to,
I wouldn't worry much about the payments at this point,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
yeah. So this is just one when if I'm going to manage, the Creativity 101 course,
Got it.
and I go to price points.
Yeah.
So I've tried various, excuse me, different versions of this, different price points for different
Yeah.
demographics. When I was first just testing it out and I gave it away for free, 26 people. And then at the 297 price point, I've had 85 people take that.
Mhm.
And that one seemed to hit a lot more than the 300 or the 100. I don't know why, it just did. If I hit the checkout page, then
Probably because of what you were doing for marketing when you set
Yeah.
it at 297.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
yeah, exactly.
My highly
Exactly.
educated guess
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I actually put some effort into the outreach and all that.
Right.
So,
You were
so this
selling
is so this one right here is if I'm using the free version, it takes me there. If I use the 297 and go to the checkout page. Now this one shows the coupons
right there.
that are
Discounts.
associated with it. So it's 297 default, and I can send them a specific checkout link
Right.
with the coupon already invoked. So this is what it looks like with the coupon. And it has it already built in. But if I just give them the straight 297, it just looks like that.
Yeah.
And then if I had emailed them a coupon, they could click apply coupon and add
Yeah.
it. The other one lets me send them a link with the coupon already invoked.
Okay.
And they get more sales that way. They can't screw it up.
Got it. And I'm actually gonna need to finish up pretty close to the end of our era. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
doing the next, got a new thing going.
Yeah, I'll check with Sue. But if that's if that's a natural stop point,
That, yeah,
and I would just use pencil and paper now and sort of start describing from the top level, what it is that you want that webinar experience to be, and then we could start with a blank. And you can play with it if you want. You just pull up that blank version of the thing and storyboard it first, and then it's easy to build that.
okay. And if there's any videos, record them in Zoom.
Yeah, that's, I think, the best
Yeah,
way.
no,
Yeah,
that makes
That's the
sense.
best way.
Huh.
Okay.
So Rizuku would contain then basically my text. So that would be all I would put in Rizuku. And if I'm going to include any video, I would record that in Zoom.
Yeah,
And
then drop it in.
drop it in. Okay, got it.
By adding media and then
Yeah.
deciding whether you wanted to let them download it or not.
Okay, that's about as much as my brain can hope to hold right now, I think. Yeah, I get it.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you very much.
Okay. Sue, did you have any other questions on Rizuku on course, like admin and design while I'm here?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
But yeah, my husband had back surgery on Wednesday, so I check on him like every half an hour.
Yeah.
So I went a little long this time, but he seemed to be okay. So it's like, oh,
He doesn't have a buzzer or anything, does he? But he can't buzz you in.
No, but it's like he's got a cell phone. He can call me, but he's
Yeah, for
watching
sure.
TV in the recliner. He's got ice pack on his back. So
Well,
I said, well, tonight dinner's at 8:30. Is that okay with you? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And we're
Yeah.
having pizza. So like simple to eat.
Yeah.
As a back surgery survivor, give him my best wishes.
Well, I've had 8 of them. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
he's been the one that's been taking care of me. And
Mm.
yesterday he was like, I don't see how you live through this stuff. He was so miserable. And he goes, I can remember you being in the hospital with tears coming running down your face. And
Now I know why.
yeah, because he said, and he said that he was like, the pain cannot get worse. And I go, well,
Yeah.
yeah, it can,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
can.
Yeah.
you know.
I
Yeah,
have,
he's not, you know,
I have a hard stop, so I'm gonna run. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Sue.
Yep.
And see you both later.
Yep.
Appreciate
okay.
it.
Yeah, good you got this worked out.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. I just got a note from Bethany. She was in some other
Yeah.
meetings, but she'll start joining us next Friday. She's excited.
Okay. Yeah, she yeah, that was the I forget what she does, but yeah, I saw she even sent an email today, so that's good. She can make these times now.
Yeah.
And those other times. And Mary Ann, oh, she had a question. She was gonna try to come tonight, but she also had a commitment.
Yep.
And let me see if I can think about what. Well, for one thing, I know that she wants to pick your brain privately.
Yeah.
Because she thinks there's a lot of stuff that she does.
Some proprietary type.
Yeah.
Sure.
That there's some things, but she did ask something. What was that? So I told her about some of the stuff. I know she kept saying she didn't want to. Yeah, you can start. Well, you can.
Yeah, I had promised Bethany that I was gonna clean up the flashcard on that sort of artifact based approach,
Okay.
going from the left to the right towards individual coaching, and how that if you the further to the left you start, the small little chunks allows you to build towards short elevator speeches, the 3 minute or a YouTube reel or something like that, or a short Facebook reel, or an 18-minute TED talk, a webinar, a book, and a workshop or a course with multiple lessons, then small group coaching with recorded testimonies and stuff, and then up to individual coaching. So the way to write a book is to start all the way at the left with a well-organized trail of breadcrumbs that leads you to, the yellow brick road to the Wizard of Oz's temple, whatever. That's what, and that's where the AI's really been helping me a lot, is with the small chunks. While I got you here, this was my little win for the week. And essentially what I did today, actually what I did yesterday was I built on it further
Yeah, I'd like to
today.
get this slide, by the way, if you could.
Yeah, I gotta redo it because I gotta spell
Yeah.
testimony correctly. I'm so stupid, but I'll give this to you once I clean it up.
Hey, it's those fingers.
Yeah, that's how you know it's real. I put it
Yeah.
in there just so you know it's real. So what I did was I had it create a my systems thinker.
I saw that, but it was a lot to read, but
Yeah,
it
and
was,
so all I did was I defined it with skills and a
and
point of,
that's your AI assistant,
yeah,
correct?
yeah. So I
Okay,
told
that's what people are calling them now, their AI assistant, and they
yeah,
are training them
yep, this is
to,
exactly what I did.
yeah.
And so I I told the AI, hey, create an avatar or an advisor called my systems thinker, defined in this way with those skills and perspectives, and give me the benefit of your analysis that includes all of these different models and tools from the Water Center for Systems Thinking. So I wanted it to be
Okay, let me ask you
comprehensive.
something.
Yeah.
Are you creating this like other people are doing, and it's own GPT with a
Yeah.
name?
Yeah. So what I
Okay,
do is inside Koala,
yeah. Which I
and
need to go ahead and sign up for that. I've got the free account. I haven't like upgraded yet.
I'm asking it to use Claude 3 Opus
Yeah.
as the specific, because I can choose the other versions of Claude 3 and then a couple Chat GPT 3.5 or
Yeah.
4.0 Oscar. So this has a couple different versions of Claude. So I said, hey,
Mhm.
send this to Claude GPT-3 Opus, which is their biggest model, and then check,
Yeah.
I want real-time updates.
Yeah.
And then it gives me a, and now I'm using Koala Chat for this one because it's actually more powerful.
I know you were trying to tell me that, so I'm going to need when I
Yeah,
get my
it's,
account is to
Yep.
use more of that
yeah,
part so I don't use up all my words.
right. So there's a context window in which you get to ask your questions, or you ask your questions or you put your prompt. And this can be like 100 pages.
Yeah.
But really, the longest one I've ever used until today was about 1 page, single spaced. It was really a long version. Because what I did was on the test fire yesterday, I said, hey, Koala, create me an AI advisor, name it my systems thinker. So and I want you to remember that in this thread. So whenever I ask you something in this thread that invokes my systems thinker, you'll go back and know that I want this definition and these skills and points of view. So I can just define it once and use it many. And then I said, now that you've defined it, step 2, go to this link, assess the article, which was a opinion piece on a website for Department of Defense that was it was going to recommend some changes in how the Department of Defense conducted acquisition and modernization. They said it's way too archaic and takes too long and it's too costly and the world's changing too fast. We're always lagging. So it had some recommendations for how to improve things. So I said, all right, go to that link and analyze that through the lens. That's my little glasses. Analyze
Yeah.
it through the lens of a systems thinker, and then report out, assess the article,
Yeah.
and make recommendations
Yeah.
as if you were this world-class systems thinker and were adopting that lens. So it produced in 30 seconds a beautiful response of about 1,000 words that I wish I had written.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I then realized, oh, there's me. My systems thinker is one of my advisors.
Mm-hmm.
My educational advisor I defined that one as instead of all the techniques and all that from the Systems Thinking Center at Waters, I said, here's a list of a dozen mental models and best practices and theories from education. And I want you to make all your recommendations from the perspective of a person who is a world-class practitioner of all of those, so that you use them all properly when you are performing work. And then I said, give me one that is my executive council, which is going to represent a senior executive leader at the national level who has 30 years of practical experience in the appropriate education, who acts with integrity and transparency in support of the nation so that the people may thrive, and acts as a steward of the public trust, and is able to look at short, medium, and long-term time frames, make trade-off decisions, balance competing value, all that shit, all that stuff. And then what I did was I realized that what I was doing was building out my own special staff. So what I did so I had it defined those 3 yesterday, and I was satisfied that it could do that. very well. In fact, one of them is going to be my essay grading teaching assistant at the college. And what I did was upload a bunch of guidance on how to evaluate and provide feedback to students on the typical essays we like. So I'm going to run all their essays through that grader to see what it comes up with. And then I'll add my own little extra stuff to it. Well, what I did today was I said, now picture me as a senior national leader, and I want you to identify for me 20 different special staff assistants that I might need as a risk manager, as a human resources, ethics, spiritual advisor, you know, all the things that you could think of. And then I
Wow.
want you to create a 21st staff guy who's my chief of staff, whose job it is to make sure that whatever task I give them is farmed out to each one of those, that each of the staff does their job and comes back with 20 different little sections of insight on that one topic, but from their appropriate perspective. And then you, the chief of staff, figure out which ones are most important and then prioritize that based on how appropriate they are to be the leader of that particular recommendation, you know, so that I get a weighted list of best advisors. And then I said, now what I want you to do, now that you've done all that, what I want you to do is I've got that into one giant text document that has, here's the philosophy of doing good staff work. Here is the executive that we're trying to support, and the values and principles we're all going to, like, we're all going to do due diligence, and we're all going to do due process. But each one of you is going to be an expert in your own little subset. So I had the AI identify what all the key models were for each one of those advisors, and then wrote that into a specification document. So now whenever I want to analyze an issue, I write the prompt for the link to the issue and whatnot, and then I just load up this document, the advisor .text, to front load that, then add the issue, and then say, now give me the output. Analyze that issue from all 20 of those different perspectives, and then give me the best of the insights without, and then eliminate the redundancies. I'll never be dumb again.
Yeah.
Because now once I've got that thing loaded, and then what I can always do is I can go back to the individual staff advisors, and I can make edits based on, hey, oh, this new model just came to light, add this value or whatever. And so then I just kept the template for how to add a new advisor. So if I ever want to add a new advisor, so, oh, give me somebody that is now looking at, I don't know, climate change, or I'm trying to think of something I didn't have, but some new advisor. Then I can just simply, I can either have it provide a draft, or I can add things in there that I want it to reflect. And then that'll generate the text and duty description of a new staff advisor. And I can just add that to my rolling library, single file of advisors.txt. And now what I have is a working model of how I would like to be able to think on my best day every day. You know, I don't have to remember how to write the prompt to define the advisor. I did that one time.
Right, yeah.
So that's just, so it turns out that when this is really just another example of the principle of artifacts. What I did was, in this case, the artifact was an advisor. and a template, which scales. And then that guy can now, he's an artifact that I can use in any of these models. Like if I'm going to write a book on how to create your own set of advisors, that's a course.
Yeah, yeah.
What I just showed you to do, but without showing, I mean, I gave you the outline or the concept of what could be a 4-hour course. And I could actually, hey, if you want my advisors, $97. Here's my text file, the artifact that I wrote to have all the 21 different 20 advisors plus a chief of staff and the specifications. I get $97. Easy. And what I'm going to now do is go back to my book, which is 330 pages. It was kind of written in this modular form, to the right with small chunks. I'm going to turn that into my trading advisor that references this as my specific context window. So I got to find a way to.
That was going to be my next question to you.
Yeah.
Is that of how to upload my book at 300 pages.
Yeah.
And get that in there as, like you said, my whatever book advisor.
Yeah.
And how to use that, because I don't want that to be the only context it uses.
Right.
But I do want that to have the reference, and also want it to pick up my style and all that. So anything it spits out sounds like me. Doesn't sound like whatever.
Yeah.
That some of this stuff, I mean, I've put in my writing styles, I've given it some things, I've given it some good avatars and all of that. But the next thing was, how to upload that book. And I didn't know whether I should upload, I got 11 chapters and just stick with those, 330 pages per chapter and let it go. Cause at least those are chunks. Those are chunks of knowledge, I would guess.
Yeah.
Because I won't need to access the whole book, because mine is all in, well, just like most books, you're going to have a theme per each chapter, or a subject matter per each chapter.
Yeah.
And, but it won't take 300 pages. You can't.
I'm going to try to take mine. I haven't done this experiment yet. I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to take my book and I'm going to say, hey, AI, read my book.
Yeah.
Abstract all the rules that you need to characterize my style, and use that as a style sheet or a author's voice or tone. And when I tell you to write things in my style, what I mean is write it in a way that is consistent with the way that I wrote in this book. So any new material, I can have it translate into my style. Instead of, like right now, it has a thing called polish. And this is in the K writer. Like, so if you put the prompt in for the K writer, it'll give you anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 words in an article or a long essay. You can then say, click the polish button, and then it'll come in and rewrite this, and it'll break up big paragraphs. It'll eliminate some redundancies. It'll use more direct action, shorter sentences, eliminate repetitions. So the polish function uses kind of like editorial style to give a consistent point of view.
Okay.
Well, instead of just using generic, what I'm going to tell it is, I want you to polish according to my style.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going to see so the 2 steps I got to do is, can I go from book to style? And then the second test will be, can I apply the style?
Right. To
write
everything moving
a new essay.
Yeah, yeah, new stuff.
Write
I'll
a,
do
s-
that.
yeah, write a
I've got
sample
a,
letter to the parents in my style, welcoming them to the club or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And you're doing that with your soccer kids. So that would be one thing because I've got a program that I bought that rewrites my own thing. I'm starting to look at that and it was, it's got some AI stuff and there's part of the program is AI,
Yeah.
but this was one that's just a rewriter.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, this would be good because some of my stuff's been out there for 12 years,
Yeah.
however, 20 years. Yeah, I probably need to rewrite some of these articles
Yeah.
and see
If
how
you
it
have
comes
those
out.
online,
But yeah,
Koala
if
can also rewrite.
Koala rewrites things, then yeah, I didn't know that. But
Yeah,
of course,
Koala can
I
also
didn't buy
rewrite a
the
book. Yeah.
unlimited. I'd be
Yeah.
on the paid version.
Well, that's where, by the way, if maybe test that with your account, and then if you really like, if you like the way that results, then you could just send me really a long list of articles that are on the web. And
Oh,
I'll have it rewrite using my account because, like I said, I worked the dog crap out of that thing for the last 2 weeks, and I used a total of 1,500 chat messages, and I got 15,000 per month, and the month ends for me in 2 days. So, on a month where I was actively working every day with it for 15 days, that's 15 days of 100 call-in responses. That's a lot of
right,
work.
but that's a lot better than 15,000 words on their
Yeah.
regular part because
Oh, yeah.
15,000
And I
words,
only use 10%
that's
of the
that's
capacity.
3 big pillar posts, and you're done.
Yeah, K-chat is the secret weapon.
Right.
It really is. And in the koala community, there's a guy named Joe Daniels. He runs a website called the AI Writer. He's age 61, and he's been in the copywriting business for 30 years. And he just made a koala course on how to do this better for $79. And he and I had about a 30-minute chat yesterday about what I was doing with the creating the personas and the staff advisors. And he
Yeah.
said, yeah, he says, I was going to buy his other course too, but that was more about Koala Writer. He said the course he does on Koala Chat for 79 is the one I should do. So I'm going to work through the 10 lessons of that this weekend and try to do a better job of, fine tuning the prompts. So if you take a look at the document that I uploaded in Basecamp is called like staff something 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 .doc. That is the long form dialogue, and all of my prompts are like in bold, italic, highlighted in yellow. And then the response that I got from the
Yeah, I
AI,
read through that one.
yeah,
I
is just
quickly read through that one because the
yeah,
material didn't matter, but it was what
yeah,
it was doing
right,
after your prompts and
yeah,
how it was
yeah.
coming
And
out.
so
Yeah.
this actually shows how I learned how to make better. I prompt, it answers. I improve a prompt, it
Right.
answers. And so that could end up being like the one I did with the 35 or the 20 different staff guys, and the chief of staff ended up being 35 pages today.
Wow. Yeah.
Additional. And so now I think that's going to end up being part of that book that I do on
Yeah.
how to create a staff with the prompts and all that stuff, and be able to sell the artifact with it. People won't do what I just did, but they will be happy to get my list of artifact or my list of advisors.
Right. Yeah. They'll gladly pay $97 for that.
Yeah, that's like It's like an MBA in a box.
Yeah,
It's essentially your chief of staff in a box. It's how to be smart in public forever.
yeah,
And then especially if I can figure out this piece about how to create my style,
yeah,
by creating my style, you avoid plagiarism.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Because I can say it's writing like me, exactly, So it should be able
And that's
to,
what I wanted too. I want to be consistent because I've done so much in chat GBT and it's like, okay, I got you. I've uploaded, make sure you're using my, I've uploaded a style. I've told it who my avatars are, I've given it a bunch.
yeah,
It still wants to come out with some gobbledygook once in a while. I mean, it's got some good stuff and it rambles and on, rambles and rambles. That's why I don't want to waste it in koala
yeah,
because, Chat will just
it'll go
spit out,
forever.
for me, spit out so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, the one thing that
okay,
you can do, the one thing you can do on the Koala Writer is they now put a little a filter box on there where you can give it the length of the essay that you want. Like you
right,
can say, I think it was somewhere between 1,000 and like 3,000 were, and there were a couple takeoff points there. So you could actually, hey, I want you to be very concise and that don't exceed 1,000 words. So that's a way to, but to me, the K chat is better
right,
because here's what I did. I took the original, I took the original prompt that I used to create the staff philosophy that I was happy with K chat. And then I took the same prompt and I put it into K Writer. And because that I had to use Chat GPT 4.0 and the
yeah,
Claude 3 was much better. It
mhm.
really was. And so for the price of 20 chat messages, I probably got 20,000 words.
Yeah, that's great
So
because
that'll save you a lot of
yeah,
work.
that's definitely the way to do it. So based on this, do you like the idea that I just upload individually all 11 chapters in my book? So then when I'm creating, because one thing I was thinking about was like my pilot course,
Yeah,
almost everything in my pilot course is coming out of one chapter in my book. So it doesn't need to peruse the whole thing.
yeah,
Although I would like it to generally have it in there, the whole book, so it gets the whole writing style. Because one chapter
yeah,
necessarily like this chapter's got a lot of visualization in it and and relaxation. So there's only, gosh, I may only have 2,000 actual words, and the rest is like scripts and
yeah, yeah,
describing things. So there's not like a whole lot there. But if it could get my whole style from the book and make that my writing style, Dr. Sue's writing style.
yeah,
But then if I could reference, go look at chapter 11 and
yeah,
I'm working on, this course and I want to bring out some of this stuff,
yeah.
and here's some new stuff I'm adding in because and I'll tell it, I'm
Yeah,
creating
I
a
think we
course.
could tell it. I think we could tell it. I haven't tested this, but I think we could. I think we could tell it to read a chapter of our writing and then pull out 5 uh elevator speeches. Pull out 5 highlights that could be used to as a sample of the material in that chapter that reflects the major learning points of that chapter. So if you write it the other way, where you say, hey, I've got 5 learning outcomes for this chapter, and then I write a chunk for each learning point, and then I assemble it all into the chapter. Well, you already have the summary because you wrote that piece. But I think if you take a piece of existing writing and then work
Ask
backwards,
it to analyze it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then I know it can do that.
right.
So uh so yeah, I think I would do that. I think you could upload a chapter as text and say, given this chapter of text that I'm going to upload, give it the task. Summarize 5 important chunks that are, would take up a half a page, which I could
Mine
use
may,
as,
mine may not, my
yeah.
book may not work that way like your
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
But I could look at that only because each of my chapters probably has basically what looks like 5 articles.
Yeah.
In it they're all, I've got themes, and then I've got like 5 different things already that have to do with it. So that may not necessarily work for me, but I'm just looking at this whole thing right here. I was going to say the artifacts, what I've been working on is and you had some good ideas. I mean, one, I got my let's just go back. I got my 4-week
Yeah.
now CFF course, and one of them is like, goals, and I'm not going to go into big goals because this is just a foundation course. And then I'm going to do a little bit with relaxation, visualization exercises, but just an affirmation. So just out of those 3, oh, and then they're going to build a vision board if you want to write it all down. Yeah, affirmations and vision board. So that's what they're going to get out of the whole thing. I think it'll be fun for the kids. They're going to have something on their walls.
Yeah.
They can go back to it. If they don't continue with me after this, that's fine. They've got something. They learned something. They've got, the whole things.
Yeah.
So again, my artifacts is I was looking at making some cool infographics out of those. Each one of those lends itself for infographics that I can put out, on social media, and I can back them up with some articles on my blog, and then advertise my course. Basically, I'd like to send them to my book, but I'll make more money off sending them to my course than my book. I mean, it's an expensive book, but still, it's not gonna,
Yeah. Yeah, I would think you have, these are the things you're going to learn. Each one of these has some kind of visual.
Yeah.
Then you write a short 1.5 or 2 pages explaining how to use it with maybe a worked example, and then a testimonial from, say, here's how I did that. Before I did this, it was all messed up. Then I used it. Then I was great.
And then the infographics is just so,
Yeah.
as you know, so many things. Affirmation definitely leads themselves. There's relaxation methods.
Yep.
And I was even thinking one of those is like, how parents, well, I got like the 7 sign that parents can see if their child athlete is suffering from mental game challenges, and I'm gonna have to decide what words to use. But that I can have 7 artifacts right there.
Yep.
And then there's relaxation techniques. There's a whole pile of those things,
Yeah.
as you know.
And teamwork makes the dream work. Oh, beauty.
Yeah.
Ain't that good?
Yeah, very
Hey,
good.
Here's what I did yesterday. I said, give me 100 affirmations plus encouragements for a person who's in the grind and getting close, and stay the course. I said, give me
Well,
100 motivational ways to say that. And it did. And a lot of them were good.
yeah, really good.
And
I've done the
that's a
same thing
K
with-
chat.
yeah.
That was one. I could get about 25 for the cost of one K chat.
Yeah, and I've done that with affirmations too. I've got some good ones. I'm trying to narrow it down, but that's where I've got to go back, and I think I want to keep adding more of my stuff before I go forward, so it knows my style, it knows my background, it knows exactly what I'm doing. Even though I say I'm a sports psychologist and all that, it still is, out there and pulling from everywhere. But I still want it to bring in what other people are doing. but like you said, I want it to get my style in there, so I don't start putting out copy that is like,
Right.
where's this come from? Because that would take me too much to edit it. It would be too long for me to edit something to sound like me,
Right.
you know?
It's better to train it. I want you to I want you to understand my style and then
Right.
create 100 affirmations that sound like me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so many of them that those are pretty generic,
They
you
really
know,
are. They really are.
so that stuff doesn't matter as much as, other things. Like you said, the article definitely has to have a style in it. You
Yeah, it
can't,
really does. Yeah.
yeah, you have to have your
And
own
then the infographics or the worksheets or the one pagers, those are that's the real, that's the gift, you
yeah.
know.
And like I said, I've got a lot of this. I've got stuff, and I got my stuff, of course, I've got some, PLR I'm looking at just to see what can I pull from where and what that I've got in there that's got some good ideas, some good things, you know, all
Yeah.
of that, because I mean, this point out, I want to
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel, and
Yeah.
then I put a
Yeah.
bunch into the AI and ask it the same thing. So I'm narrowing it down. I've got my 4 weeks. Those are
Yeah.
those goals,
Yeah.
relaxation, affirmation, vision board. So I've narrowed that down. And that's my foundational piece for my whole coaching program, which is a 12-month program. But it starts off a little it jumps in too tight,
Yeah.
jumps in too far, too soon.
Yeah.
I want a foundation course, and I think that'll get the foundation pieces out of the way. So
Yeah.
then
I think you want to spend some time on why and motivation and
yeah.
commitment,
Mhm.
strengths and allies, inspirations, and then have them, they already know how to grind, they just don't know it in other parts of their life. You already know how you overcame um, a challenge, even at the start, because we know you're going to be challenged over the course of the year and career. And how did you overcome a challenge in school or with your family or with a friend, or you moved to a new town, or it was a school problem or whatever? The skills, the coping skills that they used, they already have.
Yeah.
And you got to activate those circuits, that later on, when we get into these challenging things inside gymnastics, we're going to be able to call on these strengths and allies and coping successes, and we're going to be prepared for that. We're going to know how to
Yeah, they
rehearse and
they wouldn't
visualize.
be where they were if they didn't have some of these things
Yeah,
already. They
that's
just
right.
don't know how to utilize them to the best of
Yeah.
their,
They
and
haven't, yeah, they
make them
haven't even
all
thought about it.
positive.
Yeah, if they weren't coached before, they were probably unconsciously adapting and
Right,
didn't even
right.
recognize the technique that they used to get
Just
through it.
like with your little soccer kids, the
Yeah,
kids that are going to excel already they've just, this stuff comes natural to them.
right.
They can handle the pressure. They can handle being on top. They can handle being on the bench. They can,
Yeah,
whatever they're faced with, they can handle mistakes,
yeah.
and they're good that way. But some of them do need a little help
Yeah, and
learning,
they have
but
to
they
be
only
taught
get
the
so far
language.
on their own. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to know the language of success. What is the internal language and icons of success? John Wooden's triangle had all those little, whatever they were, all those things. But that whole thing is in the form of climbing a pyramid. And at the very top was the grand prize, but there were little prizes and successes along the way. And so that provided both the image. This wasn't just a loose collection of independent thoughts. This was an organized body of knowledge that allowed you to build a base and move towards high levels of success. So it wasn't just the language, it was also the image and the vision of success. So the process is going to get you to success. And then there's some content chunks along the way that build out each of the little steps and phases. But there's also that sort of top level process that gets you from point A to point B. So they need to be able to see the whole journey. And when you're on a journey, there's times you got to rest and there's times you're going and you got to not be distracted and you got to, you got to navigate through the construction zones or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to deal with weather and
And-
and that kind of
And
stuff.
with my kids being, like I said, well, gymnasts, indoors and all that, but even the 9 to 11 age group,
Yeah.
when they're first allowed to compete at the kind of like the bigger levels, which is really young, that is already super competitive,
Oh yeah.
super stressful. I mean, it's big time already, and you're 9 years old. Now it's a little different. I mean,
Yeah,
at
there's
9,
there's
kicking
an
a soccer
acceleration.
ball
Yeah.
around is a little different. Not to do anything about your sport, it's just a
That's just
different
the nature of, it's the
process.
nature of the sport. As a father of a gymnast,
Yeah,
I 100% understand that.
you know that because she made it to level 10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, she was a level 10 at age 9. Yeah.
Well, that's really unbelievable. But yeah, those, how stressful all that training was and how many hours she had to have already been putting in 25 hours a week, about 20 to 25.
Hold on a second. My wife's paging me.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
No
Good
problem. I'm gonna print out that little
Okay.
cheat sheet there of,
All right. What else you got for tonight?
Oh, that was it. I was just, this
Okay.
is perfect to
Yeah.
come back to that. Bethany asked a question because this is where I'm working through this.
Yeah.
And then that's where I was asking you about, I wanted to put my, I'm now looking at those artifacts as that I can use right there as, as social
Yeah. Each
media.
one of these is, each one of them now moves us. Each artifact takes us to the right, but each one of
Yeah.
these is a takeoff point that can be used for other things. And that's what I like about Rizuku is how easy it is to take when you have multiple courses on there. You can take an individual lesson and copy it to another course or an entire module and send it to another course. You can
Oh, I
copy it.
didn't know that.
Oh,
Huh.
yeah. Oh, that's so easy. I didn't want to give that too early to Denise because she got a lot on her plate,
Yeah.
but it's easy to copy a course and then take things out of it to do an executive summary of it or something, or to take just certain chunks of a course and put it in a new course.
Yeah.
Too easy. Really
Yeah,
is.
I've got my free account but when I looked, those free courses, there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot. The goal setting is only for adults going through major life things,
Mhm.
which I've always done the wheel that has 8 things. Well, they've got 9 on this, so it won't fit on a wheel.
Yeah.
But but anyway, there were, so anyway, I looked at that and thought, oh, I'll get some good things out of this. Not barely anything I could use for kids. So, you know, because I got to focus on that.
Yeah.
I'll end up, I got some parent stuff and coaches stuff that goes along with my training, and I've got some other things down the road, but right now just got to focus on the kids.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I
All
think
right,
we're
boss.
done. Your wife may be summoning you to dinner,
Yeah.
probably.
No, so we're trying to find the TV remote. I was watching something and fell asleep, and the remote fell into the pocket of something on the side of the couch where it couldn't easily
Okay.
be seen. So we were
Okay.
scrambling around looking for that. Life in the
Yeah.
Long Family on Friday night.
Yep. Okay. No, that was basically it. I was just going to ask you
Yeah.
about basically how I could help my GPT,
Yeah.
and but I think I'll upload it. So if I
Yeah.
go into my account on Koala,
Yeah.
I can still upload all that stuff through the chat GPT, or do I need to go back to my chat GPT,
No, no,
upload it?
no, no. It's when you're using Koala to send things to Chat GPT, you don't even touch GPT at all. Koala
Okay.
acts as the broker. When you put it in the context window for Koala,
Yeah.
it sends that as the prompt to Chat GPT. Then it rewrites what GPT writes through the Koala lens.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And because that was one thing about Koala, I didn't understand that it could go into Claude and all those other things,
Oh yeah. Let me show.
because
I
Poe
gotta have
does
this.
that. POE
Yeah.
also does that. Now, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I did go into that early
Yeah.
on because that was one that brought in everything. They had access to everything, and they've got a
Yeah.
free version, but I think that they're not doing like what Koala is doing, because Koala is focused on writing, correct?
Yeah. So if I go to
Yeah.
Koala Chat,
Content creation. Yeah.
so this is
And
one
share.
like this was the thing that I used today. So I keep each one of these as its own thread.
Yep. I've
And
got threads too in my
yeah,
chat
yeah. So I
GPT.
started off this one. Yeah, I want to create an AI bot that will help me analyze and create 5-minute lessons from my pre-recorded long form video lessons with the
Right.
transcriptions. So it's going to tell me how to do all that stuff. That was cool. Then I asked it to help me understand the principles behind the Van Westendorp pricing model. Okay, so it does that. How to price things by asking your. Now this is the one where because I was sort of thinking of an advisor already. This wall
Right.
of words was the prompt that I put in
Right. Okay, that may be the long one that I
the
like
long
went
form for the
put in.
staff. And then it came back with a statement of philosophy and principles for all my advisors. Like it was going to talk about expertise and professionalism, and then bullet points under each one of those. And then everything in blue is where I'm starting to add on and revise and do all that. And this is where I asked it to come up with the list of 20 different specific personas: my strategic visionary, my operational efficiency expert, etc.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then here was my, this was the template for trusted advisor profile. So I'm going to have it take this template and then do a job description for each of those 20. I'm going to use the bulk writer for that, I think. And then here was the one I used to create my chief of staff. Well, I say all that just to say, when I come down to this little window at the bottom, that's where I would paste, I'm sorry, paste your words in. Oops, there we go. This is, and that's the context window to paste words in at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, so that's where you would upload your chapter.
Yeah.
And then give it a task, or give it the task and then say, I want you to perform this task on the next thing that I paste in here, which is the chapter.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I've heard that you got to upload it and say,
Yeah.
I want you to read this. Do you understand this? I want
Yeah.
you to add this as
Yeah,
my
that makes
whatever
sense
it
too.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then make
And,
sure
and
it
you upload it
understands.
by putting it in that window, or by
Yeah.
referencing a link on the web that it could read. That's an alternative way to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I presume that you could do that because I've got, I mean, I have split my book up into all my chapters.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. I could upload, 300 pages is too much for it to handle. But I think I'll do my chapters only because I'll only, if I've
Yeah.
got something that crosses 2 chapters, I'll say, go look at these 2 chapters.
Yeah.
And let's use this material for XYZ.
Yeah.
Now, when I do that, is it still going to, or if I ask it, you know, follow what I've written, but go out there on the web and find what other people have done and come back with a
Yeah.
synopsis or something? How do you ask it to do that?
Conduct a survey of literature in the world by recognized experts on these kinds of topics with these keywords. Come back with a list of popular or famous authors that are known for writing on this topic, and what do they say about the topic.
Okay.
So I kind of use that style to identify the world leading experts on trading psychology. I just defined,
Right.
who
Yeah.
would I consider to be a trading psychologist? Well, somebody that's written a best-selling book on
Right. What do they
trading.
have to
Yeah,
say about this? And
Yeah.
then you can add that to your model that you're creating
exactly.
and then add it to your style to come up with an article that you want to write.
Right. Yeah, that's essentially what I did was, in my book, I was talking about the writers that had influenced my personal development as a trader for trading psychology. And I basically just listed, hey, give me the top 20 leading experts who have written books on the area and are known for trading psychology. And so it made a list. I said, now, for each one of those, list me the 10 things that they say are the biggest challenges for traders and what
Okay.
they recommend that a trader do in order to overcome that. So that list was provided. And I said, now consult all of those 100 challenges and solutions and prioritize them based on the frequency of appearance. Hey, 7 guys said that this was a challenge, and they had a total of 4 different ways to react to that. Okay, so that became number 1. That was the most common
Right.
challenge.
Right.
So I made the top 10, sort of the Pareto principle, give me by frequency.
I haven't done that yet. I mean, I've asked
Yeah.
Chat to do it, but I've not asked it to go reference the experts
Yeah.
in the area. I've just asked it to survey in general, but not anybody specific. And, and I could give it some names too, I
Yeah.
could say, look at these, these guys out there. So I'll have to do that so I can narrow things down. So, because you never know what it's spitting out, what it's coming back at you at.
Yeah.
With if you just go to the
Oh,
generic.
here's an example. Oh, let me share this with since I have it on the. That's one of the advantages I have on the maintaining the threads. So just as an example, here's what I did. Make an exhaustive bulletized list of all the popular and academic books written by the influential and prolific author, Professor Michael Porter. He's a well-known writer on business strategy. So here's his top 10 books. And then I said, now for each title in sequence, make a bulletized list of the top 10 insights, takeaways, recommendations that characterize each of those works. So for the first book,
Wow.
Competitive Strategy and Techniques, there's the top 10 themes. So we did that for each one of those. And every time I had to say, like, please continue until complete, that was how much it
Right.
came back with on one, that counted as one message.
Right.
So then I said, now when you take a look at the top 10 ideas from his top 10 books, identify the core ideas that transcend or traverse multiples. And so this was about grit, resilience, stoicism, persistence, will. That's actually pretty good stuff right there. Maybe I'll send it to you. Because I wanted to understand grit versus resilience and some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how I'm essentially, identifying key writers in those areas. And I kind of go back and forth between, give me this writer and his top 10 ideas. Now, who are the authors that have also written on those ideas?
Right.
And then summarize their ideas into a common list. Now, who else has written on the common list? So you get this iterated going between ideas and writers. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because you definitely don't want to do something that just summarizes one author's work,
right.
because
Yeah.
that's too close to plagiarism, even if you change some stuff, but people would recognize it in your field. Yeah, you got to come up with new stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to find out, like you said, the top 10 writers, their top 10, which aren't going to all have the same 1 and 2 and 3. And how do they reference that? And how do they deal with it? Because there's different solutions to all those
Yeah.
things.
Here's one. Write a marketing campaign outline using the growth mindset framework to emphasize the importance of growth mindset and describe how you would encourage our team to embrace a culture of continuous learning and experimentation. Campaign title, objective, target audience, key messages, campaign phases, and phrases. I mean, there's your whole marketing campaign right there.
Yeah. And growth mindset is in everything. But like I
Yeah.
said, you can't just ask it to give you, you've got to give it the whole context of exactly what you're talking about and where you are.
Yeah.
And what you're doing. Yeah. You got to just drill and drill and drill down, before you ask a question like that.
Oh yeah, here's what summarize the top 10 pieces of advice.
From Evan Pagan. Then I see
Yeah.
Brian Tracy.
Brian Tracy.
He's been around forever. Evan Pagan's
Yeah. Yeah.
fairly new.
Yeah.
Compared to Brian.
Everybody's saying the same kind of thing in their own.
Yeah.
So now if I could rewrite those in my tone of voice, if once we can get our style down there, I need a persuasive script. Yeah. Oh, I think I sent you this one before. How to relax. When distractions arise, as they inevitably will, remind yourself of what's truly important. So, yeah, so this is where, to me, the K chat is actually, really powerful because it allows you to do iterated steps with really small chunks. It lets you get it lets you answer specific questions. And the more specific you can be, the better it does. The other thing that I learned was to ask it if it had any questions of me to clarify my intention. And it usually comes back with, it has been coming back with 5 good questions that ask me to be more specific about who the intended audience is, what's their level of expertise. Am I writing this for a specific demographic, or is it broadly applicable? That, those kinds of clarifying distinctions.
That's funny because I was following a training that had some scripts on something I can't remember, and it came down, and then I went to the next. I was following these prompts that I'd been trained on, or I paid for this training, came down, and then it asked me, are you sure you want to go there next? Like you're missing some points. And I went,
wow,
oh, what am I missing here? It did that. It goes, are you
wow.
sure you want to go to that next step? And I was like, so then I thought, okay, this guy really doesn't know what he's doing. And then I was like, well, yes, please. What am I missing here? I think this was like some sales copy about some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, are you sure you want to do that? And I was surprised it came back with that, because normally it's like you tell it what to do and it's like, sure, I'll do that. Sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, now it came
Yeah.
back and said, are you sure you want to do that? Because you're missing some steps. And I was like, really? Well, tell me about these.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, yes, please do that next step that was not in, my thing that I thought I paid for. Yeah. And so it's a big thing when you deal with copy and stuff like that. That's got to be,
Just so.
like you
Yep.
said, you put in Gary Vee and you put in all these guys and say, what do they say about, the progression of copy or sales pages or things like that. So
Yeah.
I was surprised and that was just on regular, chat, GPT, the 4.0.
Yeah.
Before this 4 Oscar or whatever it is. But I was just like, that's the first time I ever got a question back from it.
Mm. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, let's wrap this
we're
up, and
good.
I'll get the recording posted and plugged in there, and we got.
And hopefully Bethany will be
Yeah.
able to watch it and can
Yeah.
come in next week.
And that was my little note to the email trail for Thursday. So, hey, people, yeah, it's great to come in on Thursdays and just talk about, wherever you are or whatever. But if you want to get actual progress, you got to create these artifacts, so that you're not always starting from ground zero,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Too hard.
Yep. All right, pal.
Okay.
You have a good
Thanks so
weekend.
much.
Yep. Cheers.
All right. You too. Bye.